All right, hello everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Around the League show with James. We're gonna take you around the league of MLB baseball. First, we're gonna do a list of what we're gonna talk about. Of course, the Halos weekly recap. We had good, and we had just disappointing, right? We will talk about the Players Weekend and the creativity that wasn't, in my opinion. The Little League Classic that happened in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The Dodgers sweeping the Padres in LA. And then we'll go through the standings and the winning streaks or losing streaks of teams going around the league here. And please be sure to follow, subscribe if you haven't already to Halos in the Infield or the Heedy Network. You get the shirt and hat, among other merchandise. Just go on Halos in the Infield here on Instagram, and you'll find the link there for the merchandise. Very good stuff. As you know, I'm wearing again the hat and the shirt, but also follow Heedy or the Heedy Network on Instagram, Facebook, X, and then all the shows here on YouTube that will have the Lone Star Halo podcast with Fernando and Vince, the Hold Down, Halo Hot Take Hold Down with those two as well. Get the Todd Fox post game show after every game. And of course, me here with the Around the League show. It's be great seeing Rob, take over the post game show whenever Todd can't make it. Some real in depth baseball stuff being talked, and that was really good to hear. Whenever Todd can't make it. Also, please check out. Let's see here. September 7th, the Ohapi All-Star Bowl, the charity event benefiting the YMCA of Orange County. That's September 7th out in Fountain Valley. Yeah, Fountain Valley. Bowling for a cause here. Now, you can save 20% by using the code OC Dugout whenever you go to buy the tickets here. So check it out on the Instagram page as well. And speaking of OC Dugout, go there for all of the Fountain Bowl. That's where it is, where the bowling tournament is. I should be there. Also, check out, like I said, OC Dugout for all the memorabilia, the auctions, the player signings, personality signings, trading cards. I'm looking for a Walter Payton or Magic Johnson item out there that could be out there. Just something to look forward to. So check out OC Dugout for that. Max Market Pros to get your social media going, like I should be. Get your business out there. Just check them out and how they promote yourself. Also, go to 714 Tickets. Use the code HITI for 10% off of any tickets, concerts, theater, and sporting events. I mean, football's preseason's already going if you want to go get overcharged for that. But those games are going to happen soon. And the last 2 months for the Angel Series, as they have a homestand happening this week upcoming. So check out all of that at 714 Tickets. Also, go to Bruheim. There on the east right circle over near the stadium, cross on off of Catella, I think on Catella, and you turn off to this side there behind the apartment buildings on like I said, east right circle. And just check out Bruheim specials there for beer. They have all sorts of beers. I always go for the 15% ones. More bang for your buck right there. Great bartenders. Very, very good. Yeah, 1931 East, right circle in Anaheim. check them out. Phone numbers and all that down below here, by the way, on this ticker for anything you need to look up or any of the needs here. All right, I'm deciding if I want to wear the hat the whole time, but yeah, whatever. Let's wear a hat indoors. All right. You want the good news or the bad news first? If you lived under a rock, the Halo's weekly recap, and unfortunately, you had some good and bad. I guess we'll start with the good that happened. Somehow, some way, the Angels were able to sweep the Dodgers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Despite being the road team at their home ballpark, you know it and I know it, how much white and blue was at the Big A. Spend your money and get out. The Dodgers were swept again by the Angels. Monday was 7-4. The Angels won it somehow. As a shocker to me. But Jose Soriano put in a good effort, got the win, just like he did, Sunday. Yamamoto got the loss, and Jansen got the save against his former team. Some highlights in that game: Zach Neto had a pair of home runs. He's just doing well in that leadoff spot, like we always wanted him to. What else happened? Shohei Ohtani had his home run. Get that out of the way. Max Muncy had the 3-run home run to kind of keep it close, but in the end, the Angels won that ball game 7-4. Tuesday, the Dodgers held the lead. It was 4-2 after 5, all the way until the 9th inning, and that's when things got fun. The Angels were able to tie the game. And then the Angels walked it off 7-6. There was a triple play in that game that Neto caught the ball, stepped on second, threw to first to get rushing there. Rushing, unfortunately, he didn't get hurt, but it looked like he really got hurt. He tried to avoid the tag. He slipped around first base and fell all around. But that was a highlight that I really never thought would ever see. A triple play by the Angels there. Yeah, 1-1 after 1, or it's 2-1, excuse me. 3-1. And then Rushing made it 3-3. Ward hit a home run to make it 4-3. Bottom of the 4th, Teodosio had a single to make it 5-3. And you thought, okay, we're good. But Teoscar Hernandez made it 5-4 on a single. Pages walked in a run 5-5. Shohei hit the home run to make it 6-5, and you thought, oh great, that's how it's going to end, right? But Nolan Schanuel had a sacrifice fly or scoring ball, like Vin would say, to make it 6-6, and then we went to extra innings. Now, top of the 10th was really crucial. The Angels got the 3 outs, and guess what? You only had Taylor Ward there at second. And Joe Odell had the ground ball that went over the left third baseman's head. Freeman, I forget the dude's name, but newest Dodger there at third, and they walked it off 7-6. And I remember the post were saying, like, okay, this sounds familiar, the way that the Dodgers lost, right? Ohtani homers, milestone, but it used to say Angels would lose that way. Now it says the Dodgers lost that way. Then came Wednesday, and you thought, no way would they sweep, right? No way. But they did. They won 6-5. The Angels got 2 in the second, 2 in the 5th, and then 2 in the 8th, just to put some help on there. After the Dodgers got 3 in the 1st and 2 in the 4th, they're able to get some late runs. Burke got the win there, and Jansen got his 23rd save. Some scoring notes from there. Will Smith, along with Betts, made it a 3-0 lead for LA. And then Ward homered to make it 3-1. Rengifo had a sacrifice fly to make it 3-2. Betts again made it 4-2 on a single. Will Smith was walked in to make it 5-2, and you thought, oh no. least I did at work listening to it. Bottom of the fifth, though, Zach Nettles doubled in 2 runs to make it 5-4. You're like, okay, wow. Hoppy had an RBI single in the bottom of the eighth to make it 6-5, and that broke up the tie. And the Dodger bullpen was taxed again, so that was fun to see. And again, the Dodgers being swept just made us all happy, and it's really, really a shocker when you think about it. You would have thought, like, okay, the Dodgers are just they're going through struggles, but they're playing the right team. But we all remember what happened, I believe, in June when the Dodgers went to LA at Dodger Stadium and swept the Dodgers, and it was just weird to see. But it happened. The Angels sweep the Dodgers 6-0 in the season series. All of the games were pretty much close, fun. I still remember the live that Todd and the minor league report Dominic did. I forgot to mention that in the opening. Please watch that show there, the minor league report. When that comes on, you learn a lot about the Angels, who are either flying up like Teodosio or have not ascended and stayed up in the minors. By the way, Bryce Teodosio, really making the most out of his opportunity. Just doing everything to win games. Stealing bases, running around the bases, going first to third, second to home easy, sliding catches, diving catches, leaping catches at the wall. He's just doing it all. He's really great. The bad news, I believe, in Tuesdays, was it Tuesdays or Wednesday's game, that Gustavo Capero, looked like a foot. I can't remember which. I think it was a left foot, I want to say. He tried to use that to get off the wall and get in the air down that right field corner, short wall corner. And he could not get up in his own power. They had the cart to get him off the warning track and out of the stadium. And we wish Campero the best, as he will try to come back from that. But he's a gamer as well. It was just unfortunate to see his foot injury and just how bad it was. And for him, again, we just hope he's going to be okay. But Teodosio, man, he's just been amazing. So the Angels had Thursday off like they do every week of August, but not September. They traveled to West Sacramento, and you thought, okay, the Angels are going now. You know, they're only 5 back in the wild card. I remember Jansen being, talking about that, in the post-game interview on Wednesday. Hey, we're only 5 back. Thank you for the fan support. Then Friday and Saturday happened up in West Sacramento. The A's with Nick Kurtz. Remember, I got to say that easily, or softly, I should say, and company from the A's. Can't say the O word. Easily beat the Angels 10-3 on Friday night. A real letdown by Kikuchi. His record went to 6-8. Gave up 4 runs. The bullpen didn't do better as well. Brogdon, after a while, was let go, and Fulmer came in to pour more gasoline on the fire. Gave up 4 more runs in late duty. Kikuchi gave up 2 home runs, and Fulmer won. For the A's there on Friday night, and Langoliers had a homer, Thomas, and then Kurtz had a home run. And Kurtz is probably going to be the rookie of the year, you would think, with the A's. But just a bad outing by Kikuchi there on Friday. Again, 10-3. The A's win. Saturday, you're hoping for better, but Tyler Anderson was on the mound. The Angels lost 7-2. Morales, who I was listening to part of the game, and it seemed like Mark Langston was talking about him, Morales, like he was working at a fast pace. He didn't need the pitch clock. Luis Morales, he's like 6'3", 225, got his first win there in 3 games. He's part of the A's of the future, as they transition to Vegas. Uh, Sean Newcomb, a name you haven't heard for a while, got the save there. And again, Anderson gets his eighth loss out of and 2 wins there. But it was more of the same. Home runs, Colby Thomas in the first. Neto tried to make it close with the RBI single. Hernandez had a single to make it 4-1 in the bottom of the third. Bottom of the fifth, Rooker went deep, 5-1. Harris had a single to make it 6-1. Rooker had another RBI, made it 7-1 A's. And Shonywell had an RBI single, but it was 7-2 the final. You go to Saturday, which was Saturday, duh. Oh no, I'm sorry. You go to Sunday, and you thought, man, don't get swept, please. Just don't get swept coming home. Show a little pride, whatever. The Angels won 11-5. They had a big 10th inning breakout in extras there. They scored 6. Both teams got 11 hits, but the Angels got them when it really counted there. 11-5, the Angels won there. Big 6-run 10th inning, as I mentioned. Joe Adele homered in the top of the first to make it 3-0. Say, oh, wow, we're on our way. Soderstrom, who has a hitting streak now, I think, of 18, had a single to make it 3-1. Bottom of the third, Nick Kurtz had a solo shot to make it 3-2, and then Langoliers tied the game with his solo shot. So bottom 3 were even again. Top of the fifth, though, Christian Moore had a single to bring home 2 runs to make it 5-3. And I guess you have to give Mike Trout some credit here for taking walks. He's really doing a better job of that than years before. Batting third, you hear it on the postgame show a lot. Should he be? Should he not be? Who knows? But as long as he's getting on base and drawing the walks, I think that's a good thing. Lawrence Butler homer to make it 5-4 Angels. Bottom of the 6th there. And then Luis Urias single to drive home a run to make it 5-5. And then all the way to the 10th. This is where the fun of the offense started. Joe Adele had the single to drive home a run to make it 6-5. There's a fielder's choice to make it 7-5 as Christian Moore reached on the fielder's choice. Luis Rengifo tripled in 2 runs to make it 9-5. And then the icing on the cake here, Teodosio had a sacrifice fly to make it 10-5. And Zach Neto with the sprinkles had a home run solo shot to make it 11-5. The Angels get the win there. Jansen got the win there. He's 5-2 this year with the W's and losses. Kelly got the loss, but it was just unfortunate for Soriano, who just had a unfortunate start of 8 hits given up in 5 2/3 innings, 5 runs given up, 5 strikeouts, but the big 3 home runs there. And that ballpark, it must be horrible hot there in West Sacramento. Really, really bad. Detmers came in doing better. He struck out 2 in 1 2/3 innings of work. Luis Garcia, Burke also did well. And then Jansen, he did walk 2, but he did get 2 strikeouts. He made that a little bit interesting back in the 9th inning. And then Fermin closed it out to get the win for the Angels there. So, all in all, this week could have been better. But you take the sweep of the Dodgers, I guess, and you feel good. But knowing that you could have got a little more, that's the unfortunate part. The Angels, as we stand right now, where I'm sitting, but let's see, in the West, well, the record is 60-64, and they are still 9 games out of first place. 9. It's never going to be any lower. It just feels like it. Houston still leads Seattle by a game and a half, and then Excuse me. Texas is 7 out. The A's 14 out. Now the wild card, if you care, the Angels now 1664, 7 games out of the wild card. And again, you know the rule that Todd and I have, where you're in it if you're 5 games out, or if you're in it. But if you're above 5 games, you're out of it. And we'll get to the other standings later, but let's get to what the Angels will have to deal with this week. They will have a 6-game homestand with interleague opponents, starting with the Cincinnati Reds, who lost 2 out of 3 to Milwaukee. They stopped Milwaukee's winning streak of 14 finally on Sunday in extra innings. That was a thrill. We'll talk about Milwaukee a little bit later. The Reds come in and their record right now, they are 65-60. They are where you wish you were, I guess. They come in the Central. They are 14 games out of Milwaukee. That's how much the Brewers have just ran away from everybody. But in the wild card, the Reds are a game and a half behind the third wild card spot, which the Mets hold. So these are huge games for Cincinnati. And if you're a realist, you want to think that the Angels will play spoiler to Cincinnati. Monday night, the pitching matchup will go as follows. Brady Singer will go. He was a former Royal, I think, in that trade for Jonathan India. Will go for Cincinnati, and then Victor Medeiros will go for the Angels, and he'll be on a short leash, you would think. By the way, that game will be on FS1 nationally. So if you're not in the Southern California area or the southern part of Ohio, you'll be able to watch that nationally on FS1. So when I come home from work, boom, it'll be there. Tuesday will be Hunter Green. And his bobblehead will come out soon for those Red fans. He's 5-3 this year, the 2.47 ERA. And then Cal Hendricks will go for the Angels 6-8 with a 4.88 ERA. So that's going to be interesting with Hunter and Green. By the way, Singer 10-9 with a 4.31 ERA. Medeiros has no record and a over 5 ERA. Wednesday, these are all national games. Night games, by the way. Nick Martinez, the former Friar, will go for the Reds. He's 10-9, a 4.73 ERA. Kikuchi will look to do better than that Friday start up in West Sacramento against the A's. He now has a 6-8 record, a 3.52 ERA. With all the walks, he has 149 strikeouts. So you take the good, you take the bad, and you have Kikuchi. Then the Angels will have Thursday off, and then the Chicago Cubs will come to town. Hey. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. I believe the 22nd will be the Ohapi bobblehead, where he's standing like a cat, squatting like a catcher, letting the pass balls go by him. I'm sorry, Logan. You're just not doing well behind the plate, dude. I think they'll have a City Connect hat on the 23rd. Those are both 6:38 games. And then, of course, 107 for the Chicago Cubs and the Angels on Sunday the 24th. I wish I could go, but I'm working so many days in a row, I won't be able to do that. Then the Angels next week will be doing the Texas two-step, starting in North Texas, or whatever they call it, Arlington. 3 with the Rangers, and then take Thursday off, and then in the month, going to Houston when they're starting to heat up. So the Texas two-step after the 2 NL Central teams for the Angels. That's the outlook for the Angels. Let's talk about something else. The Players' Weekend creativity. Does it feel like a letdown? Yeah. You know, there's some great stories out of it. You saw the catcher's gear, the panel there being drawn on by the kids of the catchers, or you saw the Ohapi's or Ohapi and Darnold's gear being drawn on by the kids at the hospital in Orange County. That was pretty cool to see there. But when you look at the merchandise, right, there's no nicknames, there's no special jerseys. All it was on the helmets and the hats, you saw the players' numbers, excuse me, there, just designed, with different fonts and colors. Like nothing spectacular about it, basically, on the, left side of the cap or right side if you're wearing it. But that was it. Like, there was nothing out of it. No D Mountain from Rich Hill, if you get that. No nicknames, nothing like that. Again, one kind of cool thing, the uh, company, the God, I should know what I'm talking about. The Vicus bats had the pencils. It had, drawings on, the kids would draw on the bat, or just designs, special designs. So that was cool too. It made it felt like, oh God, I don't know, like little league bats out there that are like $1,000, whatever the cases are. You had special gloves for um, the outfielders or whatever. You had, wristbands, whatever. You had special cleats. But again, I would really love to see the nicknames on the back of the jerseys again. Um, they did this in the NBA in, I want to say 2014, maybe 13. There was a game, I think, against it was in Brooklyn, the Nets and the Heat playing, and they had their nicknames on their back of the uniforms. And and then MLB did that with the Players Weekend, 2017, 2018, up until before the world stopped, and then the creativity basically stopped. So it was kind of a letdown thinking about that. What we used to have. You used to have the special hats, special logos, but it's not there anymore. I think New Era and Nike, they're really missing out on that. It was a little good thing that we used to have in baseball, and that's all gone now. All right. Another thing that happened this weekend, excuse me, on this Sunday, we had the Little League Classsic in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. We had the Seattle Mariners taking on the New York Mets. The game you think was secondary. Let's just get it out of the way. The Mets won 7-3. They just really took it to the Mariners, and George Kirby, he got his sixth loss. He's now 8-6. Clay Holmes fought hard to get his innings in to get the win. He's 10-6 now for the New York Mets, and he's become really, really important to that rotation who has injuries all over the place. So that was good to see for the New York Mets. What was it? Viennos had a big home run. They were just pouring it on. The Mets were over Seattle, and that's a game both teams really needed. Seattle, of course, one of the wild cards, or trying to be one of the wild cards. The Mets already the third wild card in NL. But yeah, there was some bombs being hit by the Mets. Also, some bad defense by J-Rod out in center. Some miscommunication, some misplayed balls. It was unfortunate to see, but a bunch of doubles for the Mets and the home run by Viennos. Big hits there. But there was a rain delay of 36 minutes as well, so that was unfortunate. And they call it Journey Bank Ballpark now, is where they have the finals of the Little League World Series, or Little League World Series, duh. They don't put the attendance, but that's what I wanted to talk about for this game. It's great seeing the kids there that play for, the regions of the United States of America, and then you have the countries, and they all sit, together. They're all down the line. It's the parents as well. You have other fans sitting down the line, some looking out from the highway or wherever it is. That was cool to see. That reminded me of like old baseball, like 1910s, 1920s, whatever, where people are looking in to watch the game for free. Um, but what a treat it is for those kids to meet those players. Remember, they came from Queens and they played, yesterday afternoon. Then they fly down to Williamsport, Pennsylvania from Queens, and they get greeted by the kids in the morning. They do the little hill slides, whatever players wanted to participate in that. You had Rosarena from the Mariners meeting the Mexico team. You had the good stories about the girls that are pitchers, the Chinese Taipei pitcher, the Western teams, the Southern team that had a good pitcher, but lots of stories, lots of good stories in that in that Little League Classic. And great part about it, I didn't have to listen to the normal three who would do the Sunday Night Baseball. They had a kids feed. I forget what they called it, but you had, I think, two 17-year-old guys calling the game, and you had a girl sideline reporter. But it was kind of refreshing, and these two did a great job. You had Gerardo Perez come over and talk about food and playing the game and all that, so that was cool. Learned a little about him, but it was a nice thing. And every time, I think it was what the Angels and Indians did this back in 2019, I want to say, and it must have been cool for the players. For the little kids to see Mike Trout and all the other stars. But to have the Mets and the Mariners there and all those stars there, I see him interacting with them again in the morning and meeting all the people. It's just a cool thing that MLB will do. All right. So that was a Little League Classic. And then one of the highlights about the weekend as well was the Dodgers getting swept and then sweeping the Padres, unfortunately. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Padres and the Dodgers met, and it felt like Big Brother stomped on Little Brother. It really, really did. The Dodgers on Friday took care of business. They won 3-2 in a close one. And again, it just felt like Kershaw, he had 6 great innings. He got his 7th win. Really unfortunate. Dreyer got the save, but Kershaw made the Padres look minor league. And that was really unexpected. I really didn't expect that to happen. And that was really bad for the Padres to let that happen. Some key hits were made by Teoscar Hernandez. He's been owning the Padres. He had home runs Friday and Saturday. The Padres tried to get some sacrifice flies going, just like the Dodgers did, but that home run was big for LA to win 3-2. And then if you're the Padres, you felt like, okay, you have a chance to beat them, just don't allow them to get off to a good start. Saturday was the problem for San Diego. Take you there. The Dodgers won 6-0. Snell got the win, and he did very, very well. That was his 3rd start coming back from injury this year. Cease got the loss. He did really, really oppositely bad. He was out of the strike zone right away. Just poorly pitch game by Dylan Cease. Hernandez again with an RBI. You had Conforto balling out. Hernandez with the home run. It was more about the others doing it for LA, not Ohtani, not Betts, at least not getting hits, but they would, get sacrifice fly or RBI ground outs, and San Diego lost 6-0 because of the bad start. Sunday, the Dodgers held on to win 5-4. Vesia got the win. Robert Suarez got the loss, unfortunately. And it was more of the same, the key hits. But Freddie Freeman finally homered in the first. Pages homered. And then right away it was 4-0. So you're off to a bad start. But San Diego, they clawed back. Liriano his 2nd home run of the series, make it 4-2. Top of the sixth, so Hearn had a double to make it 4-3. Yeah, it stayed 4-3, and then let's see, it just stayed that way until the top of the eighth, and then Iglesias had a ground out to former Angel, 4-4, and then Mookie Betts had the clutch home run in the bottom of the eighth, his 13th, and 5-4. The Dodgers win and they sweep the San Diego Padres. And again, if you're a Padre, you feel like we'll never beat these guys, especially when it counts. This isn't 2022 anymore. You giveth, you take it away. And that's what it felt like with the Dodgers, but opposite. Now you have to see how San Diego will do the rest of the year, if they're going to be scarred by that. By the way, San Diego plays San Francisco and LA this week down here, so that's going to be interesting. All right, let's get to the standings and streaks before we get out of here. The AL West, as we get to that. Houston again leads Seattle by a game and a half, Texas 7.5. 9 back are the Angels in fourth, and the A's at 14 games back. Seattle's lost 2 in a row, of course, to the Mets. AL East has been ran by the Blue Jays for a month now. They lead Boston by 5. New York has kind of climbed back. They had a good series against the Twins at home, and then against St. Louis. In St. Louis, they're 5.5 out. The Rays are now 12 out, and the Baltimore Orioles are 15.5 out. So again, the Yankees with their 3-game winning streak, they swept the St. Louis Cardinals there in St. Louis. All right, Detroit again continues to lead the Central. They lead the Guardians by 8.5. The Royals 9 out. The Twins 14 out, and then the White Sox 28 games out of first. Some winning streaks there. Kansas City 3, making it interesting, overtaking the Angels in the wildcard standings. Cleveland has lost 3 in a row, so that's kind of been an issue for them. And the White Sox 4 in a row they've lost. NL now. The Phillies lead the Mets by 5 out. The Marlins are 12 out in third. Atlanta 15, and then Washington 21 games out in last. Atlanta has won 5 in a row, but again, they dug such a deep hole to come out of that really doesn't matter, just to be honest. Milwaukee. Now, this is the team I wanted to talk about because they won 14 straight games until Sunday. 8 of those 14 games, or 14 wins, were via the comeback. They've had some walk-offs, and then they had some extra innings fun on the road as well. They had that in Cincinnati, especially on Saturday. The 14-game winning streak for Milwaukee was the best ever since they won 13 when they were in the American League in 1987. Just had to put that out there. And again, 8 of the 14 were comeback wins. So a lot of fun for Milwaukee right now. They had a lot of Milwaukee fans behind that third base dugout in Cincinnati this weekend. Anyway, they've lead the Cubs now by 8 games. That's how much the Cubs have fallen and how much the Brewers have risen. By the way, I heard the boos for Kyle Tucker because he hit a chopper right to the first baseman, and he stepped on the bag to get Tucker out. But Tucker really didn't make an effort to go down the line at least. I mean, he was hit that hard at first where there was no way that Tucker was going to make it. But the fans let Tucker know, and the other Cub players know that, you know, they've been in a tailspin as of late. Milwaukee has overtaken them, and they're not having fun. Even though the Cubs have won 2 in a row. It's just the standings say different, and it looks different now. Cincinnati, third place, 14 out. The Cardinals, 18 games out, and they've lost 5 in a row. So the Cardinal way going back to the bad way. And then Pittsburgh has lost 2, 3 in their last 3-7 in their last 10. They're in last place, 27 games out. The Dodgers have overtaken the Padres after San Diego led by 1 after Wednesday's Angel win. Now the Padres trail by 2 games after the sweep by the Dodgers. Giants are in third place, 11 games out. Excuse me. It feels like the Giants are going the wrong way for a while now. They made those big trades, big free agency moves, but more about it is not getting the right pitching, and the offense hasn't really been there. They were swept by the Padres as the Dodgers were being swept by the Angels last week. Arizona 11 out, and then the Colorado Rockies 36 games out. But they have won some games as of late. Remember, when we talked to you on last week, the Rockies, I believe, had 30 wins. Well, guess what? In a week, they've won 5. They're 35-89. So they can only win 6 more to tie the record or win 5 more to keep that record or have the worst record of the modern era. The schedule gets tougher for them now after, I think, St. Louis, I want to say they play. No, they play the Dodgers. But it looks like they're not going to get that record because they've won 3 in a row. They swept, I believe, the Diamondbacks in Denver. So damn it, the Rockies are winning, and it's unfortunate to see if you're a fan of the losing streaks. The run differential, by the way, negative 327. Remember, we talked about it. The modern era, I think it was the 30 Red Sox, and it was 389, negative 389. We'll still keep track of that, but they're at least they're going the right way. But their schedule gets so much tougher now for the for the Colorado Rockies. So that's been all the topics. There was something I have to mention. There was some funny. Some interesting facts. I'll leave it at this. But some crazy facts. So during Greg Maddox's 4 Cy Young stretch, his Cy Young stretch of winning in a row, he had more complete games than home runs allowed. That's why he's one of my favorite pitchers of all time. More complete games than home runs allowed in 4 straight years. You just never hear about that now. In 2024, there were more Tommy John surgeries in Major League Baseball than in the first 25 years after it was invented. And remember, that was, in the 80s, I want to say, when the Tommy John surgery happened, or late 70s, when he got it, and it was named after him. But think about that. That's how much velocity, how much spin on the ball, how much arm angles have changed, where specialty pitches have hurt pitchers. And it's just been a bad thing for young arms, old arms, everybody in between. The last switch-hitting AL MVP was pitcher Vida Blue of the Oakland A's at the time, if you can believe that. It had to be, mid-70s when they were winning 3 straight, 72, 73, 74. But a pitcher, was the last switch-hitting AL MVP. There might be someone to break it, though. And it might be this year, by the way. Bartolo Colon swung at 610 pitches in his MLB career. His helmet stayed on for only 27 of them. So he was really going for it. And we all remember James Shields giving up that home run in San Diego to Bartolo, where the impossible happened. But only 27 times the helmet stayed on for the 610 swings that Bartolo had when he was in the batter's box. Kevin Youkilis never swung at a 3-0 pitch in his 10-year MLB career. How smart was that? And we remember him with the Red Sox mostly, in 1 year with the White Sox. but how smart of a pitcher he really was. And shout out to Net Elite uh, Baseball for these facts that I had to talk about here. Ted Williams never had a 200 hit season. Unexplainable, but he had all those hits. And then Nick Castellanos holds the NL record for most consecutive games without an error at 407 games, but he plays right field. Whatever. Mickey Mantle blew out his ACL in his rookie year, and then he played his entire career without it. They just took it out, and he was still able to have a Hall of Fame career with it and winning rings. That's just old school. You can't do that now with all the cutting or whatever. Jim Balmer pitched 19 innings with the Orioles. He had 556 games, 3,948 innings, but he never gave up a grand slam. Never did. And he's on a rare list of innings that never gave up a grand slam in all the innings and games he pitched for the Orioles. 19 years and never gave up a grand slam. That is some fun facts that Net Elite Baseball on Facebook had. So shout out to them. Shout out to the sponsors, of course. Get the gear. Just go to Halos in the Infield on our social media platforms to inquire about it, to sell the team t-shirts, Anaheim t-shirts, whatever you saw. The wardrobe, it's great. Check out all the sponsors here on the line. Among other things, check out all the events going on the Heedy Network. This has been the Around the League show here for, what day are we in? August 17th. Hopefully, we'll see you next week with some more interesting facts. And maybe the Angels will have a fun homestand. Maybe not. But we'll see you next time here on Heedy Network. Watch all the shows here on the network.